Bill, I want to talk to you about one story, but I want you to know before you go off on a tirade, my opinion on this is there is no need to speculate because if people speculate and they bring up stuff all the time and it turns out to be absolutely untrue and it's a waste of our time, a waste of our energy, and does nothing positive. However, I want to give the story to you and ask you, if this evidence exists, is this a big deal? BuzzFeed is coming out. BBC is reporting as well today that Donald Trump instructed Cohen to lie to Congress about his business dealings in Russia. BuzzFeed says while they have not seen the evidence, which is kind of a big caveat here, they have not seen the evidence. They have two investigators on the case that have verified that they have more than one witness on this, and they have backup emails. If all of those things exist, and that's a huge if, is that enough to impeach Donald Trump? Does he survive that?
All right. I have a few questions before I analyze this. Okay.
All right.
Is this before or after Trump became a spy for Russia?
No, wait. I know. That's why I'm not putting any credence in this. We haven't spent any time on this. Time on this today.
But do we know from BuzzFeed whether it's before or after he signed on as a spy for Putin? Do we know?
So now see, this is why we don't speculate, because that's not doing any good. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to smear Donald Trump, and there's no. Go ahead.
Yeah, last week at this time, the New York Times had Trump as a spy.
I know.
For Russia. Okay. So now
wait.
Follow the thread.
Wait. The New York Times did not have that he was a spy. They said that the FBI looked in to see if he was a spy. And quite honestly, I think everyone, I would have done that for anyone who the whispers were around. FBI, check it out, put it down. One way or another, put it down.
On MSNBC and CNN, he was a spy.
I know. Well, that's why we don't listen to them.
So, Bill, is the appropriate
no spin? Listen to
BuzzFeed. So, Bill, is the appropriate no spin position here to basically say, look, if it's real, it'll be in the Mueller report. We'll all see it together, and we can actually see the evidence when it comes out.
Right. That's our position. Is that your position?
Right. See, if it's real that Donald Trump counterfeited $80 million worth of money, I think you impeach him. And this is what I mean. You have an industry that is simply devoted to putting out on a regular basis the worst stuff they can hear, come up with, or anything about Donald Trump. They don't have to check it. All they have to do is someone.
I'm not talking. But wait, I'm not talking. Bill. I'm not talking about the media.
I'm going to go into theoretical in a moment.
Because I don't. If it's just even Michael Cohen and he swears on a stack of Bibles and he's sitting on a throne of Bibles, I don't care. The guy's a liar, so I don't buy it. I'm saying if this evidence does exist, will it matter?
Yeah, it will matter. But before you get into the theoretical,
I know,
the real, all right, you have to prime the audience to understand what's happening. That this is every hour on the hour.
Sure, right, and that's why we have.
Now we'll get into the theoretical because that's desperately what you and Stu want to do. I got it.
We want you to tell us exactly what needs to be done, Bill. That's what we want.
Okay. What needs to be done is a healthy dose of skepticism about BuzzFeed, the New York Times, and all of these agencies that are in business to smear Trump and anybody who
100% agreement.
I think 100% skepticism is fine here.
Now, Trump
because we know it's coming out.
Has said very clearly He had no business dealings directly with Russia, and he didn't collude with Russia in any way to influence the election.
Mm-hmm.
Very clearly has said that.
Mm-hmm.
So you stay there. That's where what he said. Can't go back on it.
Agree.
Can't spin it. That's where he is.
Got it.
So, of course, if he told his attorney, hey, you commit perjury and don't tell him about X, whatever X may be, and the Russian thing that we did, all right, that we had caviar at the Russian tea room, you don't tell him that, all right?
Right.
No. And then Cohen has a memo.
I don't think Donald Trump is. He's not a stupid guy. There's no way they have a paper trail of something like that.
Right. He's not a stupid guy, and he's got a lot of attorneys that are advising him in this. So when I see these reports, I just basically don't even cover them on BillO'Reilly.com. I don't even cover them. All right, and I go for the bigger picture. But to answer your question, it's a legitimate question. If Trump did anything like that, then he will be impeached. Convicted, not sure. You'd have to see what the memo said or any of that. But, yeah, he's in trouble.
Okay. All right, let's go. Because let me just say this, because this is the only time I'm going to address this on the show today or until we get evidence. I think that Americans need to decide whether, if a president, any president, says, hey, listen, this is the deal, and you're going to go in front of Congress, and I don't want you to tell the truth in front of Congress. If that is provable and it's real evidence. Suborning perjury.
Right?
It is. If that happened,
that's a crime.
Yeah, that's a crime, and it is impeachable. I don't care if Jesus. Well, he wouldn't do that. But if it was Jesus as the president,
misdemeanor.
Correct. However, I don't think that anyone should be talking about. We shouldn't be even talking about it now, because how many things have they said that they had on him, and they'd end up not having on him? So when they show it to us, then we can talk about it. Let's move on. How is the president? I saw his Hispanic numbers, which Marist is a great polling agency. And, the margin of error is 3 points. He's taken a 19-point jump with Hispanics in approval in the last 30 to 40 days. That's huge.
Yeah. I don't believe the number. I don't think Marist is a good polling agency any longer. It used to be.
Really?
I saw their poll on abortion, which I thought was much more important. They did a poll on abortion because this weekend is a right to life exposition in Washington, which will get zero coverage in the American media, nothing. And the poll said that I think it was 56% of Americans want restrictions on abortion, including no abortions after 3 months. I don't even know if I believe that. I think that the polling now is stacked in the sense that they have, we talked to 1,050 registered voters, but they never stack it evenly. It's always skewed to it's always skewed left, always.
Well, this in particular is not.
Marist has been wrong a lot lately. Go ahead.
So you don't buy this good poll for Donald Trump on Hispanics?
No. I don't believe 51% of American Hispanics think Donald Trump's doing a good job. I don't. I'm sorry. And I've got to be I'm an honest broker here. See, I'm not in business to promote any political candidate. I just don't believe. And if you look at the poll, that number is up 22, 23% in a month.
Yeah, that's weird.
No.
Yeah, it is weird. And the sample size is 1,024. And so that would make the Hispanic sample about probably under 100, probably under 200.
Yeah, and that means the margin of error is much higher.
Much higher.
Yeah, and I think they went to a Santana concert, didn't they?
I don't know. But hang on just a second. We want to go into the rest of the news of the week. The Glenn Beck Program with Bill O'Reilly.
Bill, you mentioned the abortion poll from Marist, which the results of that are pretty interesting. And it's actually the number, when it comes to restricting abortion to only the first trimester, or more restrictive. It's 75% of people. Only 15% of people agree with the Democratic Party position of abortion throughout pregnancy, including only 1/4 of pro-choice people who identify themselves as pro-choice. Only 1/4 of them agree with the Democratic position. What does this tell us?
I'm not sure I believe that poll either, but I do believe that most Americans understand there has to be limit on the destruction of a potential human being. I just think that's so inherently obvious and fair, and I maintain the belief that most Americans are fair-minded people. I mean, I think we're overwhelmed by the unfair media that we're always talking about, BuzzFeed and the New York Times and CNN, and we're overwhelmed by it. But once you get out and talk to the folks themselves with no media filter, you find they are very fair and level-headed.
I think you're right.
So I like that poll in the sense that I think that message has to be debated and has to be put out there. Of course, it will not be put out there. You will not see that poll. Even on Fox News, you're not going to see it. And to me, it's very distressing.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on that poll because I thought it was telling, and I agree with you 100%. I think, when it shows that pro-life, if you will, is overwhelming, with the exception of this one thing of rape and incest and life of the mother. And even that ends after, the first 90 days. After you get to that first trimester, people start to say, you know what, you had a chance, and now I just don't think so. It's almost as if the American people are saying, look, I don't agree with this, but I don't want to judge or hurt people that are in massively painful situations. I don't know what I would do or say to my daughter. If she said, Dad, I was horribly, viciously raped, and every second that this child is inside of me, it's a rape scene again. I know I would say, honey, you will get great blessings for carrying it to term, but I'm not going to disown my daughter or anything else. I mean, it's traumatic. So I'm stuck.
The law is there in all cases to protect the innocent.
Yes.
All right? Everybody should understand that. So Roe v. Wade is law. It's law. And when a woman is raped, all right, she is the innocent victim of a horrible, horrendous crime and should not, by law, be forced to endure more suffering.
However, the innocent,
that's
if you're really
that Americans come to, it's a righteous conclusion,
and that's where I am, Bill. But I have this: the innocent victim. There's two now. If there is a child, there is another innocent victim, and so I'm at this place, and I think a lot of Americans are. I'm at this place where I say, look, I believe that's life, and I don't believe we have a right to take life. However, I don't want to judge, so I'm in this hypocritical decision. Right. I'm in this hypocritical place to where I say it's life, but I don't want to condemn somebody at rape.
Now, there are always extenuating circumstances. Right. You don't want to take a life, but if somebody breaks into your house with a weapon, you're going to take their life.
That's a guilty life.
And
so it's a guilty life.
There are always extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
There's a difference there between guilty life and innocent life, right? Like the baby has not done anything. He did not break into a house, right? I mean, that's
true.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the individual decision of the person in a position to take the action, and the law. I'm just talking about the law now. Yeah. I think Beck had the thing. You sit your daughter down or your friend down, and you say, "Look, if you could bear the term, you will be a saint. Mm-hmm. I mean, you will be, in that
greatly
category.
blessed.
But we're certainly not going to condemn you or force you to do anything."
Bill, let me go to the border, to the government shutdown first. I'm telling you, if Coca-Cola stopped bottling and distributing because of some disagreement, and they were no longer putting out Coke products for as long as this government has already been shut down, Americans would be up in arms and say, I don't care, settle it, I want my Coke. Okay? I don't hear that from the American people, and yet the polls show that they are not with this shutdown.
First of all, the American people, all right, of course, are not with the shutdown. Who's going to want fellow Americans not getting a paycheck?
Correct.
All right? So, I mean, the polls aren't surprising. They don't like the shutdown.
But wait, but Bill, it's not.
But again, if you analyze deeper, you have to make a decision on corruption. Now, that's what's in play in the government shutdown. Corruption. Again, this will never be presented to the people in the media, but the Democrats came in and basically said, and I know this to be true, we're not going to cooperate on anything that President Trump wants. Nothing. We are going to create so much chaos in the House of Representatives that when the vote comes around for re-election to presidency, people will be so tired of it, they'll say, all right, I may not dislike Trump, but I want somebody else because I want to put an end to the chaos.
Yep.
That's the strategy.
Yes, it is.
So when you see what the wall is, the barrier is, and we did this on BillO'Reilly.com. We had a reporter from KUSI in San Diego who covered the wall for 20 years and says there's no doubt the wall works in the San Diego sector. No doubt. All right? And then the guy provides evidence for it and backs up what the Border Patrol says, and then you turn on cable TV, and then the wall doesn't work.
Yeah.
Where people who have never even been to the wall are saying that.
Yeah.
So it's corruption that we're dealing with here in the government shutdown. The Democrats don't want a compromise. Trump would compromise.
He would.
Trump would give them the pathway to citizenship for DACA.
Yeah.
Trump would take $4 instead of $5.6 billion. But the Democrats won't do anything because their tactic is not to cooperate and get anything done.
Bill O'Reilly, back in just a second with more. The State of the Union, and Nancy Pelosi's canceled trip, and so much more. Bill O'Reilly, the news of the week, his digest, which happens every Friday here on the Glenn Beck program. Bill O'Reilly is joining us on the program to go over the news of the week. Today is the March for Life. Have you ever spoke at that, Bill?
I've never. I don't do political speeches, even though this is an overtly political as far as a party is concerned.
Yeah.
I try not to do that because, as you know, I'm the Yoda of basically telling you what I think is right, and I don't want to be tied into any kind of group.
Yoda's not exactly a spring chicken, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, if you're saying that you're much older than you look.
Did you guys just call Yoda a chicken?
Okay, so he tastes like chicken. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was Yoda when I was eating him.
Yeah, you'll have that building surrounded in about 40 seconds.
I know.
Continue that.
The March for Life is happening today, and put this down on the calendar for August of next year. I want to at least attend the March for Life next year. I want to stand clearly with them. The other thing that is happening in Washington is the Women's March, which is absolutely imploding on all of the things that we have said about it from the start. This is not a grassroots thing. This was hijacked by really bad, anti-Semitic, racist people. Yeah,
and I mean, when I saw this first pop up in the Trump inauguration, I said to myself, wait a minute, this was a contrived situation. Again, big money behind it, like the Migrant March. And, okay, so these folks who are marching, they're not even going to give the guy a week?
Right.
Or 2 weeks?
Right.
They don't even respect the election enough and the people who did vote for Donald Trump. enough to just say, well, yeah, let's just see how he does. I mean, I did that with Barack Obama. I mean, I was right in the sense that I thought he would run to the left on his policies. Right. But
I did that with
let's
Obama.
See.
Yeah, I said he is now our president, and we owe it to our president to support him in the things that we can support and give him time to show who he's going to be.
It all goes back to the same thing, whether it's Me Too or any other. No due process. So nothing.
Teresa Shook is the woman who started it. She's from Hawaii, and I think she's probably a decent person that I don't agree with, politically. I don't know. I don't know that much about her, but she seems like she's probably a likable, normal human being. She's been calling for the end of the Women's March or for the chairs to excuse themselves because it's turned into a Frankenstein. And she said it did, before the first march, she saw deep hatred, racism, and anti-Semitism. And Bill, we're now seeing it in Congress. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
You're giving this woman a pass, and I'm not.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because one of the first things that happened in the Women's March is that any pro-life woman was banned from marching.
Right, but she was not. They took it from her.
She was.
Before.
She was involved with that.
Was she?
And so once I saw that fascistic word of the day, that fascistic proclamation saying, even if you agree with us, Women's March people, that we don't like the Republicans, if you are pro-life, you can't march with us. That was the end of them for me.
Yeah.
That was it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, it's not an organization that I believe commands respect. And I think it's done now. When Kirsten Gillibrand won't show up, you have a problem.
It's real. It's a deadly curse now. I mean, and you look at all the magazines and everybody who said these were the leaders of the year and the best leaders in the world, and this movement was going to change the world, and they never stopped to look at the bad seeds that were being planted and who was planting them inside the organization.
Yeah.
They called us.
There's a great future in that. I don't think Ms. Ocasio-Cortez is going to be there either.
You think she's a burnout? She will.
No, I think that she and I have to.
Oh, you mean she won't be there?
She won't show up at the march.
Okay.
Because she's got that tag too.
Yeah.
That anti-Semitic tag. I don't think that's fair. I haven't seen any evidence that she is that, but she's not going to be there. But she amuses me. I really think that I want more of her rather than less.
We are saying the same thing. She's the best thing that could happen. Make her the face.
But I like Tulsi too.
Yes,
I like Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii.
Yeah.
I think these women, they should go out and they should say whatever they want to say.
Yep.
And Americans should evaluate it on whether it's good for the country or not. But certainly they're sprightly. Is that a good word? I'm sprightly. Beck is sprightly. Stu, I'm not so sure about. And they inject some energy into the discourse.
So let's talk about, however, for instance, the representative from Minnesota who is saying really anti-Semitic things. At what point, Bill,
is this the one that said MFer to about Trump?
There's two recent. One of them was that, and then there was another one who was had tweets about how Israel was evil.
Muslim lady.
There's two separate.
Two separate. One I'm talking about from Minnesota is the one who said that Israel. How come the mask is coming off, and how come more people can't see how evil Israel is? Blah blah blah.
And this is the Muslim lady. She's a Muslim, right?
Yes. She's the first hijab wearing member of Congress,
and she got sworn in on a Koran, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Okay. So what do you want me to say about her? I mean,
no, I don't want to say about her.
She's running as a stealth candidate. She's campaigning in her Muslim garb, and they elected her. So you're going to say bad things about Israel.
Here's what I'm saying. I know people who have given a lot of money to Democrats, and many of them are Jewish. And they started saying during the Clinton campaign with Keith Ellison around, they started saying then, you know what, this party has gone so extreme and they are now becoming anti-Semitic. At what point do you think they lose their Jewish support?
Never.
Every
poll says the same thing, that liberal Jewish Americans prioritize their ideology above the welfare of Israel. Every poll.
No, but there's
says
a
the same
difference.
thing.
Wait. There's
How
a
long
difference.
has this been going on?
There's a difference between Israel and, Jews are animals.
Okay. I mean, look. Once you get into that kind of
the Women's March, they're having a conversation, and one of them says it's you people, you Jews, you have all the money and all the power in the world. I mean, we've seen where that goes.
I don't want to generalize about Jewish Americans, but I have looked at those polls, and unless it's so blatant, and the Women's March is, the Hollywood moguls that give a lot of money who are Jewish people, they say, look, my ideology is more important than the security of Israel, because Donald Trump's been Israel's best friend. And they despise Donald Trump.
And
and Barack Obama was, according to most Israelis, not a good thing or a good leader for Israel. Yet the Jewish left loved Barack Obama. So I think it's pretty clear.
At what point do the American Democrats, just the voters, the regular voters, go, you know what? I mean, the people who are at the top of the party now are just getting so extreme. I'm just not with this.
That's an excellent question. When's the tipping point for moderate Democrats, particularly out of the urban centers? There is no tipping point in New York City and San Francisco and Seattle. Right. All you got to do is walk around those cities and look and see what's happened under far left governorship. And apparently, they don't even care about that. If there are people on your front lawn injecting heroin, it's society's fault. I'll just step around them. So I don't think there is a tipping point in some precincts. But in others, you got to feel that it's getting close when you're saying, hey, I want 70% of your money, and when you die, I want to take every single thing you have. Is that okay with the Democratic Party, with the rank and file? I don't know. I mean,
it was during FDR all the way to Kennedy.
But it's a different world.
I know. One last question: how does the president fare in the next week on the border and shutdown?
I don't know, but I'm angry because I was going to go with Nancy Pelosi on her trip. Did you know that?
I know. That was so fun.
Nancy had called a couple of nights ago and said, Bill, it's so long, the flight. I need stimulating conversation. I need a personality like you on board. I can't sit next to Adam Schiff for 8 hours.
Yeah, right.
You got to come.
Right.
So I said, sure, Nancy, I'll go. It's a government run, free, right? Everything paid, hotel, meals. Yes. We're not going to pay the air traffic controllers or the TSA, but we'll have all that stuff. So when Donald Trump, who's just the meanest, isn't he? What a meanie. When he canceled the trip, I was a little packed. I had Uber ready to take me to the airport, and now I can't go. So it's just an outrage, this whole government shutdown and the meanness on Pennsylvania Avenue. And, I told Nancy, look, maybe we just fly commercial to Cancun. I don't know.
Oh, I would pay money. I'd pay large sums of money for you sitting in a beach chair next to Nancy Pelosi, where she could not get
on this. Ask me about my one and only face-to-face with Nancy Pelosi next week. Okay. It is hysterical.
Okay.
Happened inside the White House.
All right.
But anyway, the government shutdown is a farce. It's a fraud. Trump
Will it still be going on? Will it still be going on when I talk to you next week?
I hope so, because I really want to tell this story about Pelosi not meeting in a while.
All right. Thank you, Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com. You can subscribe and watch him every night. Get the No Spin News at BillO'Reilly.com.